Hey gorgeous, welcome back to Life in Style. Today's video is going to be a get ready with me, trying out a bunch of new products that I've had, some for a while and some just recently purchased, but I am gonna go out tonight with some friends, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity to A, film, and B, try out some new products. So I have already done the foundation on my forehead, and for that I use the Covergirl TruBlend Matte Made Foundation. This is a newer foundation, not, last week new, but much newer. I know that you can find a lot of reviews and get ready with me's with this foundation, but I have yet to use it, so I wanted to try it today. I did add to that though the Urban Decay Velvetizer because we're going to be outside tonight and I don't know how warm or muggy it's going to be, so I didn't want to chance that this foundation would break down. But I think what I'm going to do is do the same thing I did recently with my ColourPop No Filter foundation. I used the velvetizer with what I put on my forehead, and then I just put the foundation alone without the velvetizer on the rest of my face. So I may do that and just see the difference in contrast as the night goes on, and if it's muggy, see how it wears with the velvetizer and without. So far I'm it's fine. It blended in okay, it matches well. I did have to lighten it up just a bit. I have the shade T30, which is, I think that's it. It's just, Warm Honey. So T30 Warm Honey is the shade I have, which is a little too warm for my skin tone. So I just lightened it up a bit with some lightening drops. So the eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be using today is also from Covergirl, and I have a lot of Covergirl stuff today. I've just been kind of, like I said, picking it up over time. This is one of their TruNaked palettes, and this is the Sunsets. This, like I said, is a newer one. Very warm, but it was something that I was drawn to when I saw it, and I was very interested in trying it out. They do have another one as well with darker colors, which I think I'm also going to try out, but this one was the one that I was really interested in, to start out with. So I've already primed my eyelids. I used my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly, as I've been doing recently, and then I set that down with the Milani Individual Bella Eyes eyeshadow in Bella Cappuccino, which I've used a lot because it is very close to my skin tone and sets down the primer very, very well. So I'm going to start out with carving out my crease. Most of these colors, I'm trying to think of what I can carve out my crease with without going too dark, but alright, so we're going to pick up this color right here, which is the second color in the palette, and I'm pointing to right here, and I'm just going to pick that up lightly on a Sigma Tapered Blending, which is my E40, and carve out the crease with that and see how we do. I can tell you, just digging into it, it does kick up quite a bit of powder, so you do have to be careful with them. I've had some of these palettes in the past, and some I've liked, some I haven't liked, so I am hoping this is not a miss palette, that this is a hit palette, because like I said, some of them are hits and some of them are misses. I've really got to tap off excess there too, because like I said, it's very powdery and picks up a lot of product, which is good, but you don't want all that fallout, especially if you do your foundation first. So I'm going to just do the other side and see how this works. I don't know if it's the primer or what, but I have like a line of demarcation that I can't seem to blend out there. So let me try the other side. It may just be that eyelid. And I've talked about that before, where my eyelids are very strange but different from the other, where one side will blend out much better than the other, or take color better than the other. And it doesn't matter what eyeshadow I use. I can use a $2 eyeshadow, I can use a $200 eyeshadow. It's just the way the skin on each lid is kind of performs. That's a pretty berry color. I do like the color on that. We'll see once kind of everything comes together, but I mean, it's okay. It's not too bad so far. And so I'm going to pick up a smaller brush. I'm going to use the Sigma Diffused Crease, which is the E38. I use that a lot as kind of like the second brush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the shade right next to what I use. So this is the third shade here. And I don't see any names in the back of this palette, so it's just going to have to be what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in the natural crease just to start kind of adding some depth in that section of the eye or on the eyelid, and then I will move it up so that we can actually see that color. These colors are nice any time of year, of course. I mean, you know, there are no rules in makeup, but just looking at this palette, I think it'd be absolutely gorgeous for like fall time and winter time. So that's not too bad. It's not horrendously pigmented. I'm not sure if I'm just not adding enough or if once I start blending, it just kind of blends everything away. I'm thinking a lot of it is getting blended away because I put a lot on this eye. And even though you still can see it, to me, I feel as I've continued to blend, a lot of that color's just kind of dissipated. But it is nice. I do like it, and it's blending out well. I think at the beginning I just had a little problem with that eyelid, but I happen to like it. It's okay. And then I'm going to stick with the E38. I just cleaned it off a bit. I'm going to go into the first color here, which is like a, I guess like a saddle brown almost. And I do see that that is matte. I don't see any shimmer in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into the crease, the natural crease, and just start really putting that in there and packing that in that area. I'm going to start bringing that out to a little further to the outer corner as well, so we could really see that shade. That warmed up that pink really nicely by adding this color, and it's kind of, yeah, I think like a saddle brown and orangey type of color. It's not really dark brown as you saw earlier when I showed it to you. It's more like a light brown orange, but I think it warmed up the area really nicely. And then I'm just going to grab a fluffy brush with no color on it and just start blending out up top there to make sure that it doesn't look harsh and everything's really nice and soft. Alright, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up, I don't want to go too shimmery. I actually have another palette too that's brand new to me. I just recently got this in just the other day in my July BoxyCharm, and it's the Crown Pro palette. I think a lot of people have seen what this looks like. So I wanted to use a dark brown in here. So I think I'm going to pull in one of the shimmer shades from here because it's just a little bit darker than what's in the Covergirl palette. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this shade right here. I'm not going to wet the brush. I'm just going to see how it performs on its own without any Fix Plus. Well, that's performing really nicely. I like that a lot. I mean, I'm sure if you wet the brush, you're going to get much more shimmer and it's going to be much more prominent, but I like the way that applied very much. And then what I want to do is now start darkening up the outer corner. So I'm going to take this middle shade right here in the Covergirl palette. I'm just going to grab a Sigma E25. I'm going to go ahead and pick up that color. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the same brush to pick up the dark brown in the Crown palette. Just be forewarned, like I said, you get a lot of kick up with this palette, so you got to be careful. And the thing I hate about that is that the colors are so close together that you're going to get color in the other, you know, whatever shade is next to what you're picking up. Just grabbing my fluffy brush, no color. And I'm going to blend this outer corner before I apply the dark brown. So I'm going to go back into the Crown Pro palette and I'm going to grab this dark brown right here and just put that on the outer corner. Like I said, I'm just going to use the same E25 And actually, I'm just going to use my color switch to make sure that all of that other color is out of there. So I'm going to pick up that dark brown. Yeah, so I noticed as I'm blending out, I do end up losing a lot of the color that I've put down. I mean, I didn't put too much to begin with, but once I'm blending it out, a lot of that color is kind of just, you know, like I said, dissipating into thin air. But today, that's okay. Like, I don't mind it because, like I said, we're just going for drinks, so I don't want anything too over the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stay in the Crown palette, and I am going to grab this shade right here, which is like an orangey shade, and I'm going to use that to blend out up top and just to add a little more color. I can say with this palette, don't get a lot of kick up at all with the shades, which is really nice, but maybe that is lending itself to not really holding on to the colors I'm continuing to blend. You never know. Got too much kick up, people complain. Doesn't have enough kick up, people complain. I say if the shadows perform well on your eyes, that's all that matters. And then I'm going to go back into the Covergirl palette. I'm going to grab the lightest shade in there to highlight the brow bone, which is right here, the very first one. So I'm just going to grab a brush, grab a little bit of that shade, and just highlight the brow bone. So this color, as white as it is in the palette, to me, unless it's showing up different on camera, doesn't show up really white. On the camera, it does look a little different, I think, but when I'm looking into the mirror, I don't seem to have a lot of highlightiness going on there, the brown bone, but it is what it is. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to clean up under my eyes. I'm going to do my liner as I normally do off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll put the rest of the stuff on our face. You'll notice that the picture looks a little different. I just had to fix the angle of the camera. I had a little too high, and I thought that that was going to work out well, but the more I kept looking at myself, I'm like, I feel like I'm doing this the whole video. So I hope the first part of this video comes out okay. But anyway, I've cleaned up under the eyes and I've put on my winged liner, and the look is, you know, it's a very subdued type of look. I think just for using these two palettes for the first time, again, it's just a first impressions. It's obviously not going to be a review. I don't know, I feel like the colors just kind of muddled together, and like I said, I've owned other palettes, these types of palettes like the TruNaked from Covergirl, and haven't been too impressed, but these colors really, really called to me. So I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about it. I may have to use it I will have to use it a couple of more times in order to really get a sense of how I feel about this palette. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous to look at, but you know, and again, this is a very subdued look. If you're looking for kind of like a berry purpley look that's not too over the top, it's okay. It's not anything to write home about. Now, the Crown palette, I only use 2 colors, actually 3 colors, so I can't really, I mean, you don't get a lot of kick up with the Crown palette, but also too, I don't feel that the color payoff was great. So I've got to use this many, many more times before I kind of make my decision as to whether or not that's something I want to keep in my collection. So we're going to move on to getting the face ready. I'm going to start out with primer, and that's going to be my Makeup Forever Step 1. Again, the weather is very muggy. I'm not sure how it's going to be tonight, so I want to make sure that my face stays as matte as I can possibly keep it. And then for foundation, like I said, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl TruBlend Matte Made Foundation. I am not going to be using the Velvetizer. I want to see how this portion of my face without the Velvetizer kind of lasts throughout the evening against this portion of my face that does have the Velvetizer. So I'm just going to put this over my face, and I'm going to use a sponge to kind of get that in the skin. I went ahead and lightened up the foundation, and I'm just using a Luxie Precision foundation brush to get that on the skin. And see how this works out. That's probably a lot. And I forgot to color correct as I've been doing. I don't know why the hell I've been forgetting, but I'm just going to use my Color Fix CC Complexion Stick from Absolute New York. So it's basically like a lipstick, and I'm just applying it to my under eyes for the dark circles. And I'm going to use my Real Technique sponge, which needs to be cleaned or filthy, to just get that into the skin, kind of melting in there. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and start getting this foundation blended into the skin. Definitely not a full coverage foundation from what I'm seeing. I felt like I put a lot, but I can still see it is what it's going to be. It's a pimple, it's annoying, it's just a pain in the ass. But I could see a lot of other things there that I don't necessarily see with other foundations. So I'm just going to place a little bit more foundation in those areas without putting too much. I don't want cake face, obviously, and just seeing what else I can cover up. I am going to be using my concealer, of course, to conceal more, so maybe that'll help to cover up all of it. I also feel around my nose. I don't know that you can necessarily see that, but in the mirror, like I've got a little bit of redness under my nose, and a lot of foundations that I put on will cover that. I don't need to put anything extra before I put on the foundation. For concealer, I'm going to be using my Pro Conceal in Warm Honey, which is one of my very favorites. Just love the blendability, the wearability of this concealer. It's just really, really nice. We're just going to start out with that side. I'll use the blender. And by the way, this sponge is the one from Sonia Kashuk at Target. I have heard so many good things about this. It is phenomenal. Like, just really, really great. This is, I think, like the third or fourth time I've used it. But I love the fact of how big it gets. It is super, super squishy. And just really nice to blend things out. There's some sponges on the market that I will not use because they just do not get squishy enough. They still feel hard even after like wetting them and, you know, drying them up and that sort of thing. And even damp, they just feel very, very dry on the skin. And that's not the case with this sponge. I really like it. I got a 2-pack, I think it was, for like $10.99 or something. Definitely going to be getting some more because that is very inexpensive, and they're fabulous. They're really, really good. I still love my beauty blender because I do, but you're talking about 2 for $10.99 as opposed to 1 for $20. So I'm just gonna set my under eye. I love this concealer so much. I swear, it's just so phenomenal. And I'm just going to be using my banana powder. I'm going to be picking that up with a Juvia's J123 Tapered Blush. And I always talk about this brush because even though it says blush, this shape is just perfect for under the eyes. So that's where I use it. I never use this brush to apply blush. I just don't feel it's the right shape for, you know, my cheeks. For powder all over the face, I'm going to be using my ColourPop No Filter Sheer Pressed. And this is, I've been using this. It's a newer purchase of mine. I did actually use it in the last video that I just put up. It was a birthday get ready with me. And I tried out the No Filter foundation and the powder or pressed powder for the first time. I do want to get the translucent loose and the banana as well to try those out. But this I really, really like a lot. I just love how it's just really light on the skin, really fine powder. It doesn't feel like it weighs you down, which is very important, especially if you're wearing a lot of layers on your skin. So let's go ahead and move on to finishing the under eye area. And I'm not sure, to be honest, if I'm going to pick up anything from the Covergirl palette. I don't really like reds or pinks under my eyes. I just think it makes me look sick. That's just me. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to line the bottom of my eyes with that pencil in black, and then we can work from there. So this one I have is the Essence Extreme Lasting Pencil. I just need a black pencil. I'm going to go ahead and start drawing a line. I'm going to stop talking or else I'm not going to be able to draw the line. And I'm actually going to use the same pencil to just do the waterline. And then I'm going to grab a black shadow. I don't think I'm going to go into either one of those palettes. So because it's just here, I'm going to go into... Actually, you know what? I used this last time, so I'm going to use this one instead. This is the L'Oreal Color Riche Single Eyeshadow in Noir C'est Noir. It is just a really nice matte black. And I am going to pick up my Morphe M432, which is a flat definer, and I tend to use this for the bottom lash line, and I'm just going to apply that right onto the black line that I did earlier. So I just want to darken it up and then also even it out with the shadow. Okay, and then what I'm going to do with no color, I'm just going to grab my Morphe E36, which is that tiny fluffy brush, and I'm just going to start blending the bottom part of it out. So I want to start smoking that out, but I don't want to add any more color just yet. If I feel I need to, then I will add a little more, but I just want to smoke it out. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it like that. That's fine. Again, I don't need to go overboard with the eye look. I just want to make sure that it's blended well and the line is not so harsh so that it's just blown out and really soft. And that'll do for me. That's fine with me with the way that looks. So the next new product that I'm going to use is also from Covergirl. This is the TruBlend Serving Sculpt Palette in 510, which is Rose Night. So basically you have a bronzer, a blusher, and a highlighter. So I am going to use all of these three products today, and to bronze I am going to be picking up my BH Cosmetics 114 brush that I normally use. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that bronzer because that's pretty dark, and just going to bronze the skin. Not too bad. I feel, and I've used this brush before, I use this brush all the time when I bronze. I feel it's a little patchy. and I don't think it's how I'm applying it. I don't know if it's the foundation or if it's the bronzer or what. So I'm gonna have to use this bronzer with a different foundation. The color is nice. It doesn't look too ruddy or muddy or anything, but not sure about the blendability factor there. So we'll have to keep trying that. And then I'm gonna go into the blush here, which is pretty pink, but I wanna give it a go anyway and see how that looks on my skin. I picked this one because the bronzer was the darkest. So I'm gonna be using my Morphe E4 slanted brush there. I'm gonna pick up just a bit, very, very pigmented as I could see. So I wanna get some of that off. And we'll start lightly. Yeah, I don't know if it's this palette or the foundation, but I feel like this is applying just really, really tough right now. That's the way I feel anyway. Like it's just, it looks ruddy right here. So I don't know if that's the foundation breaking down or what. I don't believe that this foundation got horrendously great reviews from people. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't look like it normally looks in that area. Now the bad thing is I have this effing pimple on my face that looks like a freaking third eye, and I do blush up in that area, so I'm like going to be bringing more prominence to it, but I tend to blush on the apples of my cheeks. Yeah, I don't know if it's this, I got to try this palette out with a different foundation. I don't know that I'm really liking that, the way that looks. I'm not going to switch it now because we're going to be leaving soon, but I don't know that this foundation is going to be one that I'm going to keep in my collection, because I don't know. I mean, it looks okay and it doesn't look okay. I don't know. So next I am going to go ahead and use the highlighter in this palette as well. Now that looks like pure freaking glitter right there. I don't know that you can necessarily pick that up on camera, but we'll see. And also with the blush, yes, I just blew into the compact. With the blush being so, yeah, that's pure glitter. That's pure glitter right there. And I'm using my Luxie Tapered Highlighter, which is the 522. That is really pretty if you're going for that type of look. That I like very, very much. But again, if you're going for a glittery look, or if you want to put this, like, let's say on the décolleté or the shoulders, but that's glittery. That's not going to be a wet looking highlight. It is a glittery highlight. So just be warned, if you have not purchased this palette and are interested in it, that is straight up glitter on the face. I'm not going to put a lot of that. So again, the TruBlend Serving Sculpt palette, the bronzer, blusher, and highlighter. I don't know if it's the foundation or what. I know how to apply bronzer. I know how to apply blush. I just feel like it was, I don't know, I just felt like my brush wouldn't move, like it was really difficult. And the foundation doesn't feel heavy at all. I don't know how you guys are picking it up on camera, like I'm looking in the viewfinder, and overall the face looks okay, but there's just something I can't quite put my finger on that is just not meshing well with me with this foundation, so I'm not sure that I'm going to keep using it. I am going to pop on some false lashes because I do want to finish the eye look, and I'm going to style this hair, and then I will be back and we'll finish off with lips. So for the inner corner highlight, I used my Pixie by Petra Glowy Gossamer Highlighting Duo. This is a newer product, and the one I have is in Subtle Sunrise. The only reason why I didn't use this in today's video is because I have already used this several times, so it's not necessarily new. Plus, I wanted to delve into the CoverGirl bronzer, blusher, and highlighter. But just from the times that I've used it, this is an amazing, amazing highlighter. So if you're on the fence about it, I would absolutely recommend you get it. It gives you this nice, gorgeous, wet highlighter look. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I went ahead and I put on my lashes, and those are the Lash Couture Faux Mink collection from Kiss, and those are in the style Boudoir. Now for lips, I do want to keep it simple. I'm just going to use my Milani Rose Femme lipstick, so it's just a regular cream lipstick. I'm not even going to line my lips. I'm just going to put a little bit of this on, and then some gloss over top. This is one of those lip colors that if I had nothing else in my collection and just this, I would be absolutely happy for the rest of my life. For on top of this lipstick, I'm going to go in with the Buxom Full On Lip Cream in Dolly. I'm just going to put a little bit on just to add a little more color, and then just a little bit of shine. I like the way that looks. The color on the lips, I think, ties in the berry colors on the eyes very well. So that's actually going to do it for this video. Again, I was just wanting to try out some new products, and I had to get ready anyway to go out tonight, so I thought it would be a nice video to film for you. The products that I've used were brand new, the Covergirl TruBlend Matte Made Foundation. Not honestly sure how I feel about that. I'm not really sure. There's just something about it. Again, I can't put my finger on, but I'm not sure how I like it. I think a lot of this is still peeking through. It's almost like when I put something else on, like the blush and the bronzer, it's almost like it lifted the foundation, or that's what I felt like what was happening. And then using the Covergirl sculpting palette, I think because of the foundation, it felt difficult to blend, and it almost looked ready, and I think it was because it was lifting up the foundation. So I don't think that foundation is going to work out for me. As far as the Covergirl TruNaked Sunsets palette, I do have to continue to use it to see how I like it. This look I just kind of put together pretty quickly, so I can't give you obviously an in-depth review on it. It's all right for what it's supposed to be for tonight and where I am going. The Crown Pro palette, I only used 2 colors from this, so I do need to use this a lot more, and I do want to use this a lot more because I really love the look of this palette. And again, both of these palettes really, I think, lend themselves to a lot of great fall and winter looks. So I do want to use that more, and I'm looking forward to using that more. So that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for watching and spending a few minutes of your day with me. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also click that little bell so you get alerted as to whenever I upload new content. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!